I need you to stop whatever you are doing right now and listen carefully. Because what I am about to tell you is not a movie. It is not a creepypasta. It is not something that happened to a friend of a friend. This happened to me. And after you hear this, you will never feel completely safe in your own home again. My name is Daniel. I am 31 years old. I live in a quiet suburb outside of Chicago, Illinois. I have lived in the same house for 6 years. Nice neighborhood, good neighbors. The kind of street where everyone waves when they drive past. I always felt safe there. That feeling ended on a Tuesday night in November. It started with a phone call from my cousin Marcus. He worked in cybersecurity, ethical hacking, penetration testing, that kind of thing. He called me at 11 p.m., which was unusual. Marcus never called that late. I picked up, and before I could even say hello, he said, "Daniel, are you home right now?" I said yes. Why? He said, "Lock your doors, right now, all of them." I asked him what was going on. He said, "I will explain everything, but first lock every door and every window in your house." I did what he said. My heart was already pounding. When I came back to the phone, he told me what he had found. He had been doing routine dark web monitoring for a client, a security company he worked with. During that monitoring, he came across a thread, a forum post on a hidden dark website. The post had a title. It said, "Targets, Chicago Suburbs, Updated List." And underneath that title was a list of names and addresses. My name was third on the list. My full name, my home address, my street, my house number. Next to my name, someone had written 3 words. Unoccupied, during daytime. Someone had been watching my house. They knew my schedule. They knew when I left for work every morning. They knew when I came home every evening. And they had shared that information with strangers on the dark web. I could not speak for almost a full minute. Marcus was still on the line. He said, "Daniel, are you still there?" I said, "How long has this been up?" He said, "The post was made 14 days ago." 14 days. For 2 weeks, my address had been sitting on a dark web forum, available to anyone who knew where to look. I asked Marcus what the list was for. He paused for a long time. Then he said, "Daniel, I think it is a burglary targeting list." Someone was planning break-ins. They had done surveillance on multiple houses, identified which ones were empty during the day, and posted the information for other criminals to use. I felt sick. I called the police that night. 2 officers came to my house, took my statement, said they would look into it. They seemed calm, too calm, like this was not the first time they had heard something like this. One of the officers told me, "Unfortunately, this kind of thing is becoming more common. Dark web forums are being used to coordinate property crimes." He said, "Change your routine, install security cameras, consider a monitored alarm system." And then they left, just like that. I did not sleep that night. I lay in bed listening to every sound, every creak of the house, every car that drove past, every shadow that moved across my bedroom ceiling. At 3 a.m., I heard something outside. Footsteps on my front porch. I grabbed my phone and called 911. The police arrived in 4 minutes. They found nothing. No one. The officer said it was probably an animal, or the wind. But I knew what I had heard. The next morning, I installed 4 security cameras. Front door, back door, side gate, driveway. I changed my entire daily routine, left for work at different times every day, parked in different spots. I told my neighbors what had happened. 2 of them had also received calls from Marcus. Their addresses were on the same list. We started a neighborhood watch group that same week. 3 weeks later, Marcus called again. He said the original post had been taken down, but it had been copied and reposted on 2 other dark web forums before it was removed. My address was still out there, somewhere. on servers I could not find, in the hands of people I could not identify. 2 months after that first phone call, my neighbor's house 3 doors down was broken into. His address had also been on the list. They took everything: laptops, jewelry, cash, irreplaceable family photographs. He had been at work when it happened, just like the Post had predicted. The police investigated, made 1 arrest, but they believed multiple people had been involved. To this day, nobody knows exactly how many people accessed that list. Nobody knows how many houses were targeted. And nobody knows if my address is still being shared somewhere in the darkness of the internet. I still have those 4 security cameras. I still change my routine every single week. I still check the locks twice before I sleep. And every morning when I leave for work, I look up and down my street. Because somewhere out there, someone knows exactly when my house is empty. And I have no idea who they are, or when they plan to use that information. If you own a home, if you rent an apartment, if you think your address is private, I want you to hear this clearly. Your information is not as protected as you think. The dark web is not some distant threat that only happens to other people. It is real, it is active, and it is closer to your front door than you know. Stay aware, protect your information, trust your instincts. And if something feels wrong, take it seriously. Because I wish I had taken those signs more seriously, before that Tuesday night phone call changed everything. Subscribe for more true dark web horror stories every week. Because next week, I am going to tell you about the man who received a mysterious package from the dark web. A package he never ordered. And what was inside destroyed his entire life. Sleep well.